Okay, in this module today, we are going to be talking about my favorite subject, ego, and how to let go your ego and how to build your strengths and how to understand what your weaknesses are and how to leverage that in your team to have more empathy and compassion for the other team members. Okay, and in module two, you probably realize that. And hopefully you took some personality tests that helped you understand how you can show appreciation with your team members and with your doctors. And if you don't know what I mean by that, go back into Module 2, where we list some of the key places that you can go and find out what your love language is, and some of the key personality tests that are used very broadly so that you can understand where each other is coming from. And they're also really fun, and they're great for meetings and your 4x4s and maybe even huddles to share. It's perfect. Now, what we're going to be diving into this week is how to team up with the ego, okay, and why the ego is so important and what the ego actually is. And the other takeaway is how to cultivate more empathy and compassion as a result. And thirdly, how to list your strengths and weaknesses and collaborate with your other team members to figure out how you can complement one another and really then understand where each other is coming from so that you can be a more connected team. And lastly, how to check in with your ego, okay, and how some of the egos in your patients that are coming in, how you can identify that and know when to back off and know why the ego is presenting itself. So, using empathy and compassion to understand the ego. Well, really, what is ego? Ego is really just your own defense mechanism. It's your own guard up to protect you. And if you can think about what happens with our ego, so when we get defensive or when we get supposedly attacked, when somebody is asking a question and our guard is up, what happens in our bodies? Well, physiologically, we tense up. And physiologically, when we tense up, guess what? It causes separation from somebody else. And that, my friends, that is ego. So can you think of a time right now, the first thing that comes up in your head? Maybe it happened today. Maybe it happened in the operatory, but when you said something to a patient, maybe you said that they have type 3 periodontitis and they have gum disease and they were told by a previous doctor that they didn't have anything, okay? But you can see their body tense up because you're challenging them and you're challenging what their thought process is from the past and what that happens and what happens as a result. And then they start to question you and then they start to not believe you or they want to know facts and the trust goes. Why? Because again, if you think about it, they're really just protecting themselves. Maybe they're ashamed. Maybe they're fearful. Many times our ego drives fear. Many times our ego drives fear-based actions and fear-based results and fear-based leadership. So can you think of maybe even in your own, maybe it's the bosses that you've had in the past, or maybe it's your own doctor right now and your own boss. And I'm guilty of this as well, where many times as doctors, we lead by our egos. We've got a DR in front of our name, right? And probably many of these doctors may not like what I'm going to share, but it's true. We've been validated by our right answers for a very long time. So yes, part of where we are today is we earned that degree, right? And so the balance that we have and the responsibility that we have is to really be able to balance between where the ego drives us and what decisions we're making as a result of that. But the ego drives each and every one of us. It is our defense mechanism, and it's your job and it's your responsibility to figure out what that looks like and how to know whether it's serving you, because a lot of times it can actually serve you. It can actually help you. But when it's actually causing a destructive pattern, and when it's causing separation, and when it's causing fear, and when it's causing judgment, and when it's causing a divide in your practice, a divide with understanding your patients, and when it's causing conflict. That is what I want you to get out of this video today, is how to understand where that's coming from and how you can choose differently based on that. But I also want you to know, if you can name times in your life so far, maybe in your practice life, and working with your team members, when ego has served you, what has it done to get you to where you are today? Now, and how often you want to be able to check in with your ego to make sure that you're coming from a place of understanding and awareness. And lastly, for this video, you want to be able to list all of the strengths about you. So use your ego because you want to be proud of the strengths that you have, but you also want to be able to list some of your weaknesses and your shortcomings. What potentially you may not be good at. Maybe you're not good at calling up some of these patients and their post-op, or maybe you're not good at collecting. Maybe you're not good at treatment planning or conveying the problem, consequence, and solution for some of these patients that come in. Sometimes we're so attached to, oh, what's this patient gonna think, or are they gonna say no? And really that fear is just ego, because what if they do say no? Who cares? You're giving them what they need to know. Okay, and it's my job to teach you how you can actually implement this so that you can practice and you can do some one-on-ones and role-playing with the other team members that you have. So go ahead, take this information, play this video in Huddle, go ahead and take this and also play it in your meetings and play it in front of your doctors and really start to practice and cultivate this message of being empathetic and being compassionate towards one another and being compassionate and empathetic towards your patients that come in. Because a lot of times it's fear that separates us. And you look at even in some of the leadership, and even when you're even in some of the big TV programs, and even in your own life, the people that you've dated, the people that have come across in your life, the people maybe you've worked with who have such this ego, but really what it is they're driving fear and they're driving pain. And all they want is to be accepted and to feel belonged. So think about that the next time you drive with your ego first.